This is our assignment for rewriting equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, so what you're doing here, your directions are rewrite each of the following equations in slope-intercept form. And remember the equation for slope-intercept form, that is y equals mx plus b. So all 8 of these questions, in the end, they need to say y equals mx plus b, but instead of m, you'll have a number, and instead of b, you'll have a number, okay? But for all of these, the end result, your final answer needs to say y equals, most importantly. Okay, so let's go through, and we're gonna do a couple of them together, just to kind of refresh your memory on what we did on Tuesday. First one we'll do here is number 1. Number 1 is the first one we'll do together. So it says, currently, it says 8x minus 4y equals 20. Okay, so if it helps, you can circle the variable that you're solving for. So that means we know we need to get rid of the 8x, and we need to get rid of that -4. And when you're doing these, you're doing PEMDAS backwards. Whoops, it's going crazy. You have to do it like we're solving PEMDAS backwards. E, M, D, A, S. We're doing it backwards. So normally adding or subtracting goes last, but since we're doing it backwards, we're actually going to be doing it first. Okay, so we're going to add or subtract the term that has the x. Okay, that's always going to be your first step if your equation is written in this form. So we're going to add or subtract this 8x. Since we're moving it to the other side of the equation, we need to do the opposite operation. Currently, that 8x is positive. So we're going to do the opposite of positive 8x. So I'm going to do negative 8x, or you can say minus 8x. It's the same thing. So those cancel out. And then I'm just going to bring down this -4y. Don't forget that negative sign. It's super important. It's still there. And then I brought down the equal sign. And then we have here this 20 minus 8x. Those are two terms, two separate things that cannot be combined. So I need to put them side by side. I need to put one here and one here. Okay, remember your end result, your equation. We're putting it in slope-intercept form, the y equals mx plus b. In the end, we need to have the term with the x first. So which one should I put first? Should I put the 20 or the -8x first in this first spot? Which one should I put there first, the 20 or the -8x? Tell me in the chat, or you can turn your microphone on. Awesome, good job, guys. We're first gonna put our -8x. We did that one first. That means our 20 is gonna go next. Notice how we have no sign in front of that 20. Ask yourself, is that 20 positive? Well, look up here again. If there's nothing in front of it, we know it's a positive. So I'm going to put a plus sign in between there because we know it's positive. Okay, so now it says -4y equals -8x plus 20. It still doesn't say y equals, so we now need to get rid of that -4. We can read that -4y. You read that as -4 times y. So we're going to do the opposite. What's the opposite of multiplication? Tell me in the chat or turn your microphone on. What is the opposite of multiplication? Awesome, division. So we're going to divide by that number in front, the -4. And then when you do it on the other side, split it up so you can see it nice and pretty. Divide by -4 all throughout the entire thing. And then we can start simplifying. These -4s cancel out. So then we're left with y equals. And now let's start simplifying our fractions. Our first one. What is -8 divided by -4? So we have negative divided by a negative is positive, and then 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, and then just bring down that x. Don't lose it. We need to have it there. It's part of our equation. And then let's do the rest of our division, simplifying if we can. This positive 20 divided by negative 4. We have a positive divided by a negative, so we know that's negative. So I put my negative sign there, and then we have our numbers. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, so now you can look at your equation. It says y equals 2x minus 5. This is now in the same form as slope-intercept form because it says y equals, and then we've got our x here, we've got the number in front of it and the number after it. So now it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And then really quickly, little last minute extra practice, you can write m equals b equals. So we're going to look and see what's in the same spot as m. That's the number in front of x. And for this one, that's a positive 2. And then we're going to look and see what's in the same spot as b. That's the number after x. And for this one, it's negative 5. Okay, so that's just extra practice. That should just come naturally to you. You shouldn't even have to think about this part here. You should just be able to see it, and you should be able to do it like while you're sleeping. Like it should be that easy. Okay, so just quickly go ahead and jot those down as well, the m equals and b equals, just for extra practice. But most importantly today for this assignment, we're really focusing on, let me circle it. We're really focusing on this part here for the assignment. So you need to get that part done. This is extra practice. So I need you to get this done. This is just for myself, but for the school, we're expecting you to know how to do this. I'm just getting you ready for the next part, the next topic that we're doing, for having you write out m equals and b equals, okay? So make sure you write down all of that stuff there to make sure you guys are like professionals on this topic, okay? Let's go on to another one together. I'm going to kind of skip around. So if you have it on regular lined paper, you can skip around on your paper too, or you can kind of leave some spaces if you want to have it all nice and pretty on your paper. I don't care if your paper is all mixed up around. It's okay with me, but I know some of you like to keep it all organized. So whatever is best for you. But the next one we'll do is number 4. Next one we're doing together is number 4. And remember, in the end, we wanted to say y equals mx plus b. Okay, and we're doing PEMDAS backwards. So first we're doing the adding or subtracting. Okay, should I add or subtract the 0.8x, or should I add or subtract the 0.4? Which one should I move to the other side first? Tell me in the chat, or turn your microphone on so I can hear your answer. What should I add or subtract? And I see some people typing. I got subtracted 0.4y. Do I have any other answers? Got a couple people in here. Hoping to get at least one more person to answer me. If it helps, you can look at number 1. You can look and see what we added or subtracted there. So let's go back and look at number 1 really quickly. I'm going to zoom out so you can see. Let me see, I'll get a different color here. We'll use purple. We'll use purple. Okay, so the first thing I did, the first step, was adding or subtracting the term with the x. That's going to be your first step, adding or subtracting the term that has the x. So let's go back and double check. Let's again look at number 4. We also need to add or subtract the term with the x. So what are we going to do for our first step? Go ahead and type your answers again really quickly. What are we going to do for our first step? I see Anessa changed your answer. Okay. Perfect. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract, or we're going to move that 0.8x to the other side first. You always want to move the term with the x first. That's always going to be your first step. It's currently a positive 0.8x, but we're going to do the opposite, minus 0.8x on both sides, minus 0.8x. And yes, there's decimals in this problem. That's okay. We're still going to treat them like regular numbers. It's fine. We're still doing the same exact steps. Okay, so those 0.8x's canceled out. I'm going to bring down the 0.4y and the equal sign. And then I have these two terms, so 1.2 and the negative 0.8x. I need to put one here and one here. Remember, we're putting it in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So how can I put them side by side? Which one would I put first to put it in slope-intercept form? Would I first do the 1.2 or would I do the negative 0.8x? Go ahead and type out how you would write it. Tell me how you would put it in these two little spaces. How should I put it? I got one answer there. And I know we have decimals, that's fine. Awesome. So the first thing we're going to put is our term with the x, and that is our negative 0.8x. And then we're going to put the 1.2. What can I put in front of the 1.2? What can I put right here? What can I put right here in front of the 1.2? Since it's a positive 1.2, I got one answer. Anyone agree or disagree with that answer? What can I put there? The answer I see is a plus sign. Do you guys agree or disagree with that answer? Perfect. We're going to put a plus sign there because it is positive. So I'm going to put my plus sign up there. Awesome. Let me erase these two lines and then let's keep on going. So first you did our adding or subtracting. Next is the multiplication or division. Remember, we're trying to get the variable y all by itself. So should I multiply both sides by 0.4 or should I divide both sides by 0.4? What should I do? Should I multiply or divide? Awesome, good job. Since we read this as 0.4 times y, we're going to do the opposite, divide by 0.4. And then on this side over here, split it up, divide by 0.4, divide by 0.4. So these canceled out. Now I have y equals, I know you guys all have calculators, go ahead and plug it into your calculator, this first set of division, this negative 0.8 divided by 0.4. Plug it in your calculator and tell me, what do you get when you do that division? And make sure if you get a negative, make sure you put that negative sign in there. Plug that first set of division into your calculator, the negative 0.8 divided by 0.4, and tell me what you get. Type it in the chat. You can use your calculator for that. I'm telling you to use your calculator. Because on the exam, if you guys have decimals, 99% of the time, you're going to be able to use a calculator. So I want you guys to practice with that calculator too. You need to get that calculator practice. So plug it in. Tell me what you get. So I got one answer. So Ethan says 2. You guys agree or disagree with positive 2? And then I got a negative 2. I'm going to tell you guys, we have 2 different answers. One of those is correct, but which one is it? Which one's correct? We have 2 or negative 2. Which one's the correct answer? We have a negative divided by a positive. So negative divided by a positive is negative. So we know we're going to have a negative, and then that 0.8 divided by 0.4 is 2. So that whole entire thing, the negative 0.8 divided by 0.4, you should get negative 2. So if you got a different answer when you plugged it into the calculator, plug it in again. Make sure that you hit the negative sign, make sure that you hit the decimal in the right spot. Sometimes I like to type things in the calculator a couple of times because you're pushing the button so fast, you might make a mistake and might not catch the button that you clicked. So if you can, do it again. Always try and type it in again. Okay, so I'm just going to bring down this X. Let's keep on going. And then our last set of division here. We have positive 1.2 divided by 0.4. Plug that into your calculator and tell me what you get. Plug that into your calculator and tell me what do you get when you divide 1.2 divided by 0.4. Ethan says 3. So let's see if we get any other answers, or you can say you agree or disagree. And that's you say you agree. Perfect, and that is correct. We get a 3. Whoops, let me use a different color. We get 3. So I'm going to put my 3 here. What kind of 3 is that? Is that a positive 3 or a negative 3? It's positive. So if it's positive, I got to put my plus sign in front of it. Now it's in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Let's quickly write out what does m equal and what does b equal. You tell me what's in the same spot as m. What is in the same spot as m? And we're looking at this here. It's the number in front of x. For m, we do not include x. I see that that's always the biggest mistake when people are writing this out. M does not include x. It's only the number, so that for this one, it's just the negative 2. That's the biggest mistake I see when doing these. So remember, x does not get written down when we're writing the m equal. So it's just the negative 2. Now we can write out what is in the same spot as b. Same spot as b. Perfect, and that is our positive 3. Okay, so for solving this, the first thing we did was adding or subtracting. And then the second step was the multiplying or dividing. Most of the time you're going to be subtracting, and then most of the time you're going to be dividing, but sometimes you might do it a little bit different. But go ahead and finish. That's number 4. That is the end of number 4. Let's do, I'm hoping maybe one more. We'll see how you guys feel after that. Last question we'll do here together. Number 8. So I'm going to help you guys out with this last little section here. Remember, we wanted to say y equals mx plus b. Okay. So our goal, we want to get the y all by itself. So we need to move that -1 to the other side. So we would do +1 on both sides. But before we do that, notice that we have parentheses here. We need to get rid of those parentheses before we move that -1 to the other side. I have something in front of the parentheses, this negative, or sorry, the fraction, the 2/3. What can I do with that fraction? I'm going to give you a hint. It starts with a D. What can I do with that fraction? It starts with a D. And here's a visual for your hint. Starts with a D. What can I do with that fraction? And it's not something in PEMDAS. Ethan says distribute, and that's the distributive. Perfect. We are going to distribute. So let's go ahead and do that first, and then we can get rid of the thing next to the y. So my first jump here, we have this 2/3 times the invisible 1. And anything times 1 is always just itself. So it's really just a 2/3. And then I bring that x down next to it. And then my next jump here, this 2/3 times 3. And no, we have a fraction. And when you guys see fractions, you're like, oh no, fraction, run away. They're not scary. We're going to do this together, okay? So I'm going to write it out on the side here. It's going crazy. I'm going to write it on the side here so you guys can see it a little bit better and I can show more steps. 2/3 times, it says 3. Okay, when you multiply fractions, You want to multiply a fraction with another fraction. So how can I turn this 3 into a fraction? What do I put it over? I put it over an invisible what? An invisible 1. Perfect. So when we're multiplying fractions, we're going to do top times top and bottom times bottom. Just multiply straight across. Let's go ahead and do that. What is my top times top? 2 times 3. We're going to multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Perfect. Over. And then our bottom times bottom, multiply the denominators. 3 times 1 is 3. Perfect. And then if you can simplify, you want to simplify. Can we do 6 divided by 3? And yes, we can. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that entire thing here, the 2 over 3 times 3 is really 2. We're just showing our work here in the middle. Okay, so all of that is a positive 2. I'm going to copy down the rest of the problem, the equal sign and the y minus 1. Okay, now the parentheses are gone. Now we can move this minus 1 to the other side. What is the opposite of minus 1? Tell me in the chat or turn your microphone on. What is the opposite of minus 1? Perfect. Opposite. We're going to do plus 1 on both sides. I need to put a plus 1 over here. Should I put the plus 1 under the fraction or under the 2? Which one is it more like? Which term should I put it under? Where should I put that plus 1? Under the fraction or under the 2? We're going to put it under the same term. And for this one, we're going to put it under the 2. So let's go ahead and put our plus 1. So these ones cancel out. Now I have my y equals. I'm just going to copy this down, this 2 over 3x. And then here I have 2 plus 1. We can actually add those together because they are in the same family. So we just do 2 plus 1 is positive 3. Now it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Let's write out what is in the same spot as m and what's in the same spot as b. So what is in the same spot as m? Same spot as m. The fraction or the 3? What's in the same spot as m? See, Anessa said the fraction, the 2/3 is in the same spot as m. Do you guys agree or disagree? So remember the same spot as m, that's everything in front of x, and it does not include x. We don't write the x down, it's only the number. So for this one, m is just that fraction, the 2 over 3, perfect. And then we're gonna look and see what's in the same spot as b, same spot as b. Perfect, b is 3, the positive 3. Good job, guys. Okay, so the final answer for number 8, I've got it in my box here, y equals 2 over 3x plus 3. And then we've got our extra practice down here just to get you guys ready for the next topic, writing out m equals 2/3 and b equals 3. Okay, I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see this whole paper here all together, see it a little bit better. So we have a total of 8 questions on this assignment. I want you guys to go through and I need you to have the ones that we did together. So on your paper, you should have number 1, 4, and 8 already done. Okay, I need you to also go back and you're going to finish all of the other questions because you're going to have a total of 8 questions on your paper, whether you printed it out and you're writing on the paper or you're doing it on regular lined paper. You need to have all 8 questions done. I just gave you the answers and I did all of the work for 3 of the questions. You're going to go back and you're going to do all the others on your own. And then once you're finished, you can submit that picture on Schoology. Just make sure when you submit a picture, I need to be able to read it. So if you can't see it, then I can't see it. Like if it's blurry, make sure it's a clear picture. And I need to see all of your work for all of the questions. You can submit multiple pictures. And if you need help with that, just send me a message if it's like 2 or 3 pages of your work or something. But that is it for today. So if you have no questions for me and you know what you're working on, then you can go ahead and sign out. But if you have questions, I will stay on here for a few minutes, okay? Or you can always send me a message if you don't want to ask on here.